Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another Star Wars book review. It's going to be Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good. It's the second in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. I did a review for the first book, Chaos Rising, which I'll leave a card for here. And we'll of course do one for the other book when it comes out, and all the Star Wars books when they come out. Before we get into the review, please do give the video a thumbs up, and of course subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the awesome Star Wars reviews, Bad Batch, and of course Power Rangers and movie reviews and all the other stuff we do here. So Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good. I guess I should say, let me just take a step back before I get into this full review. For Thrawn Ascendancy, that's really hard to say. Chaos Rising, I thought it was fine. I thought it was interesting to get into some of the intricacies of the Chiss Ascendancy and to see it fully fleshed out and learn about their culture and the ruling families and kind of the upbringing of Thrawn and all the people behind him. I liked you have the benevolent, and I thought he was a good foe for Thrawn. And I think that this book missed the mark by a lot to me. I think that it is the weakest of all the Thrawn books that I've read. I read obviously the old Legends, original Thrawn trilogy, the new canon Thrawn trilogy, and then these two. I've not read Outbound Flight, or I think there's another couple as well. But I think it's the weakest of all the books. I did an audiobook, as always. It's about 16 hours long. And it is, I think, a lot of things where it missed the mark is Thrawn takes a big backseat in this book. And it focuses on not even the characters that we were introduced to in Ascendancy. In Chaos Rising, there's a lot of new characters that are introduced that are given the majority of the screen time, or I guess book time, page time, and I just didn't care for most of them. A lot of it is plotting, could have been trimmed down by a lot. I think I did really like the third act. I thought that when it all kind of came together, I liked the end sequence and what we were getting to. I would have liked a few more breadcrumbs along the way, would have liked more Thrawn. And if you're going to focus on other characters other than Thrawn, I would have liked more focus on the characters we've already been introduced to in this world, like a Thurfian. I thought he was going to get a lot more time in this book because he's trying to, take out Thrawn. Also, because of the names of people and so many people being introduced, and it's being so foreign to this one, felt the most foreign to the Star Wars universe. It's hard to follow at times. A lot of people have very similar names, and there's just a lot of just dead time in some respects where there's just people talking, and you're like, does this matter? Do I need to really focus in on this? And some of it felt repetitive in some respects. But basically, there is a race called the Agbui who can touch people and learn about them, learn about their thoughts and their feelings and their emotions, and they use this skill in order to manipulate other races. Basically, they were working for, I think it's Chiss, I believe is the name, who I completely 1000% forgot about, was the reveal at the very end of the last book. And is not in this book as much as well. It's a Grisk, we find out, who is behind the scenes really pulling all the strings, but the Agbui are in service to him, I guess, just like the Nick Ardoon were, and so he's pulling their strings and they're pulling everyone else's strings. So it's kind of the Inception level of string pulling. But the Agbui, the main one is Halfleaf. A lot of weird names in this, but Halfleaf, I believe it was, ends up going with these two young Chiss who are on a wandering year, where they're basically, it's a year before you go and you see the world before you have to have real responsibilities in some respects, and they're learning about other things. And one of them is the female is very interested in learning about like bird migrations and stuff, and the male was just like, I want to learn about politics and history and stuff. And we spent a lot of time discussing whether or not we should go to a bird migration, and then going to it, and then going to a second one, because the first one didn't go well, and the egg buoy are trying to manipulate them into going to certain planets and being there on a certain time schedule. And it's just, and then there's the planet Selwist, I believe it is. It's like an agricultural planet in the Chiss Ascendancy, where we end up landing, and they're basically manipulating this low-level bureaucrat who wants to rise up the ranks. They give them like the egg buoy give them like a trinket, like a bracelet or a brooch or something, and it has a metal in it that is has a very important metal in it that is used in like all the Chiss warships. And so they're trying to pretend and telling them that there's like this giant mine, and we're cool. We just like to travel this, space, and we make some money off of selling these little jewelries and spices. And so, but we have this mine. And so it's just a too good to be true story. So they basically, this is all leading up to their this is basically happening. We don't know this until the very end, essentially. This exact same thing is happening on 3 different worlds, where they're part of the greater families, which are 40 families that are below. You can see there's a lot of detail in this book that are below the spoilers, obviously. Now that I've been saying them for quite some time. Below the 9 ruling families, there's these other set of families, and 3 of them that are aligned with different ruling families are all being coerced into trying to go to this mine, so that they will fight each other, so that the 3 ruling families will then fight each other, and so there will be civil war, and the Chiss Ascendancy will fall apart. That's the main story of what's going on. Thrawn's story is much smaller, and again, he doesn't have a lot of time in this, but basically he is out looking for some pirates. They run into a alien species, and their leader's called, I believe, the Magis or something, and they think that their homeworld is destroyed, and so they're going to all kill themselves and join the Beyond, the Force, and use their joining of the Beyond to repair their planet. That's their religion. And Thrawn wants to save them, so he tries to prove that their planet is still alive. And there's a lot of stuff going on with drones as well, where there's several fights with with fake fights where someone's using a drone spaceship, essentially. And basically, as always, Thrawn catches on, and he ends up using these drones in the end for a big battle. To basically, he goes to where the 3 warring factions are for the Chiss, and he pretends like he's being attacked in an effort to unite them against an enemy, because they're Chiss above their family, obviously. So, and it works, and he's able to crash one of the drones in by it sounded like he was shooting the repulsor jets on it or something. He had someone shooting it, and it crashes into where the mine was supposed to be, so no one can get it. And then no one wants to talk about it because they were embarrassed about being tricked. So it's kind of convoluted, but that's the main thing that's going on in and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, because again, it was 16 hours. And there were so many details and so many things that were going on in this, but that's the main crux of what's going on. And there is also the big reveal, the big hook for the next book is that the Grisk want to know from Keylori, who was the navigator from the first book. They want to know how the Chiss navigate space. And so I guess we're gonna maybe reveal the Skywalkers, or maybe they're gonna do something else. He thinks it's an actual technological thing, but and there was also, I think, the myth or someone have like a super weapon of some sort. So something's happening and going on. That's pretty much what's going on in the next book, which is Lesser Evil. Comes out in November 16th. So hopefully I'll have that review out Thanksgiving. I just, again, I thought this book was just, there was a lot. And I think one of the biggest issues is I think Thrawn is at his best when he has a competent enemy to go against him. Like, give the benevolent felt like he was kind of on level with Thrawn. And I like when there's that kind of, Khan and Captain Kirk one-on-one battle between people. We had it in the other Thrawn trilogy when there was the pirate captain or pirate, I can't remember his name, but he was on his level. And I think Thrawn really needs that. And I didn't feel like there was anyone on his level here, and he didn't have screen time. But Thurfian, who again is one of the members of Thrawn's family, who does not like Thrawn. He thinks he's going to mess up and bring dishonor to the family. He has now become the patriarch of the family, so he's in charge. And that's kind of where we're leaving the state of things heading into the next book, where I guess things are going to go off, because obviously Thrawn's going to get disowned and go off into refuge and lead into the other Thrawn trilogy. But it didn't work for me. I thought it was too long. A lot of those things, especially with Half-Leaf and the two younger Chiss in the agricultural worlds, a lot of that could have been trimmed by a lot. And you still get that same point across. And it would have made it feel like Thrawn was in the book a lot more by cutting down the other stuff. So that's my thoughts on Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good, the second of the trilogy. I should say, if I didn't say it already, beautiful, beautiful cover for the book. And all of these books have had great covers, but an excellent cover. And looking forward, hopefully, to the next one, wrapping things up well, because this should have been better by a lot. But it is what it is. See you next time here on a podcast named Tim. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff. See you next time.